He is the Indian-born, Singapore-based blockchain entrepreneur who revealed himself to the world as a mystery buyer who paid a record of almost $70 million for a digital artwork by American artist Beeble at a Christie's auction last week. He's gone by a pseudonym, Metakovan, but revealed himself last week. And of all the investors that we've had on this show, it is a first for us to speak to a millionaire entrepreneur who started not only perhaps the next chapter of art history, but is perhaps at the cusp of the next chapter for what non-fungible tokens mean for the world. His crypto fund won the rights to digital artist Beeple's Every Days, the first 5,000 days. Welcome, Vignesh Sundaresan.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a really awesome introduction. Thank you.
We're thrilled that you're here. Now, I have to ask with the question everyone wants to know, why did you buy the artwork? And is it linked to the virtual real estate which you own, the virtual museums that you own, and the tokens that could maybe allow the public to own culturally important pieces of art?
So yeah, I strongly believe that this piece has a very important place in history, in art history. So Metaverse itself, we are very focused on digital art and digital NFTs, and that's what we do. So I've been collecting all these culturally important NFTs since 2017, right? So land in decent land, like land in the virtual worlds. I've been collecting the very interesting pieces of art over time. There is also programmable art now, which is digitally native to crypto, where the piece of art can change with some transactions on the blockchain and stuff. So those kind of arts we've been collecting for a while. And when this came out in Christie's, I felt like it was a very important moment in history where the traditional art world was recognizing something that was fully digital, right? It had no physical counterpart, and it obviously made surprised a lot of people. But for us, it was not a surprise, right? Like it is obvious for us, this elevation in how NFTs are being recognized. I'm happy to be part of that history.
Okay, so as you say, you've bought Beeple's artworks before, bundled it and then fractionalized ownership through that B20 token that we were talking about. So is this artwork going to be added to that fund, or is it meant to draw attraction to that fund?
So no and no is the actual answer. The thing is, B20 is not just a bundle of people art. It's a very interesting bundle. So if you go on b20.metaverse.fund, you will understand what it is. So it's a static bundle, meaning that we did buy 20 pieces of one-of-one people art pieces, and then we bought land in the virtual worlds, and then we had an architect build museums, and then we had a sound designer come and do the soundscape for the museums, and all of these were NFTs, right? So NFTs need not just be art, it can be music, it can be land, etc. So we put all of these NFTs together, and because this is all on an open blockchain, we can use a smart contract to secure it without needing a third party to enforce the contract. So it's all on a smart contract now, and we fractionalized that bundle into 10 million tokens, and that's what a lot of people have now, right? So it was an experiment where personally, I was thinking, I've been a collector for a while, why don't I try to be a producer, where I can, instead of just collecting a piece of art, NFT, I could bring in more than one artist together and see what happens. And that's exactly what happened. So the museum itself is a piece of art, right? Like it's the first ever museum done in such a scale, and the land we bought was worth $100,000 because it's a how do you say, it's in an important spot in the virtual world too, right? So all of that went into the bundle. And what I've told this when I did B20 also very clearly, that's an experiment, and it's like a movie. So once we do a movie, we don't add scenes to it. So it's not like what we bought now goes into that bundle. It's a static bundle. It's for you to enjoy. Anyone can go enjoy these museums, and if you
Mm-hmm.
want to like buy a piece of the museum, you can do it now, right? Without trusting me or anyone. That's the idea.
That's the idea. Okay, so now I have to ask, is the Beeple auction then, like the
Mhm.
GameStop craze, a part of what has
Mm.
been described, Vignesh, as the meme economy, where
Mm.
what the internet likes is converted to a lot of cash?
So this is a very deep question, because I think meme theory is something we can go into, and because now what is happening in the world as a phenomenon, if you ask me, is a
Hmm.
decentralization of capital, right? Like crypto did not just decentralize how money works, but it also ca- decentralize who has this capital. So it's not a set of people sitting inside a boardroom, three people deciding on a deal, but it's now open to the public, right? Like, and what they look at and what the three people inside a boardroom would look at is very different. And so this is a phenomenal, as you said, not just in crypto, but GameStop also reflected the same thing, where it's more of the meme that has the value. And I think into crypto art and all these NFT movement, the meme part is very important. But my important note here for people is to not reject it as a fad, because it could be the new kind of mood, right? Like you need to have a meme, and then you can do a multiple stuff that is useful economically. I would give an example of, say, GameStop now could look overvalued, but because they have this meme backing them, now they can maybe go buy an interesting business, right? And that business could become valuable, right? Because GameStop just bought it. Like things like that is happening in the reverse order, because for a long time the world has just been a beauty contest, right? Like stocks have become more of a beauty contest than value based investing or something, uh, which I don't know if it's a healthy trend, but that's the trend we are living in right now.
So, as an investor, what do you look at NFTs as? Are they a
So
new asset class?
definitely, NFTs are a new asset class, and they're a blank slate, because they are not just crypto art, right? So if you take land itself, virtual land, I'm sure that a lot of people might be like, why is virtual land interesting? And can't you not create infinite land, right? Like things like
Mm,
that. But NFTs, what they allow is to create uniqueness in all of this infinite space. So imagine going on Netflix every day, when there is millions of websites on the internet, and exactly watching what Netflix wants you to watch every day, right? Like that's what we do now. We
yep,
just click on the banner, the huge banner, and Netflix decides what we all have to watch, right?
absolutely.
So even though there are millions of websites, so there is, even though there is infinite space in the digital world and in our imagination, there are going to be spots on the internet which is going to have more importance than the other, right? And if it's a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old, I'm sure that when he gets access to the computers, because B20 also was an experiment like that, where a 12-year-old on the computer, right? Like where will he go in the virtual worlds? And getting that attention, grabbing that attention, I think is very important, because over time, in a year or two, when these virtual worlds become important, all these lands around these museums are going to be more valuable, right? Like building the Burj Khalifa and selling the land around it, right? So all
Got
these
it.
theses are
Yeah.
possible with NFTs, where the space where Burj Khalifa is its own NFT, but every piece of land around it is a unique piece of land, right? Like it's north facing, it's south facing, everything is unique. So that's what is captured in an NFT, and that translates into art also, where I believe that, for example, the first piece of art, the first NFT from an artist will be valuable, right? Like, I mean, because of its novelty. Maybe art that made a lot of news or controversy could be valuable. So it's not straightforward what you can invest in. Definitely,
Hmm.
maybe investing in virtual land is much easier than investing in art, but the approach I think people should take if they're looking to invest in art through NFTs is
Mhm.
that they should just invest in things they love and not invest too much money,
All
right?
right, that's great advice. If you've just joined us, we're joined by the crypto whale that is at the heart of all the news headlines on NFTs. He's a mystery buyer who spent almost 70 million ether, the equivalent in dollars, on a piece of artwork that was auctioned by Christie's last week. So, Vignesh, I understand. Let's get to know you a little bit better, all right? I
Mhm,
understand that
mhm.
you don't own a car, you don't own a home, you rent. So, you seem pretty asset light in the real world and asset heavy in the metaverse. Is that fair to
Yeah,
say?
that's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
Is
And
and why is that?
um, one is freedom of movement. I feel like a country like Singapore is something that's very. I've grown to like Singapore a lot because it has this, like almost very smooth, efficient system, right? Like in whatever you want, like you get out of the airport, you get on a cab, you're in Singapore. That's the feel, that's the efficiency here. The thing is, uh, but if I want to go live somewhere else, I don't want to move my life, my assets, and all those things have, because they have become old traditional assets in a way where the governments around the world think about land, everything that's physical in their own form, right? Like it's taxed differently, and there is also asset inflation, which means that when there is inflation now going on, and there is taxes on capital gains in a lot of countries. For example, if I buy land in India, and then like there is money printing, inflation, and then I sell my land, I still have to pay 50% of my money. I find that, like in a way, not a good deal to be an investor in my own way. So I have my reasons of not owning land in various other countries, but in Singapore it's just hard to own land, right? Like it's not just straightforward to own land either. So I think being asset light gives me the freedom to travel. I still enjoy um, all the physicality of this world. I don't think we should own it to enjoy the physicality, right? So
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know why we should own it. In the same way, I don't own physical art too, right?
Yeah.
Because where will I store it? And and I cannot store have, like, for example, I have 300, 400 pieces of digital art, but if
Hmm.
I had the same 300, 400 pieces, I'd be spending so much money just to store them, right?
Hmm.
So I'm
Hmm.
thinking NFTs are just better, because I don't have to pay anything to store them.
That's a very zen approach to space, I think. And pardon the pun, but I think Singapore is richer to have you here with us. So we're very glad that you are here with us. But share with us a little bit about your life. I mean, 8 years ago, you were a technical consultant for a
Mhm.
national Indian publication, the Hindu newspaper. You are only 32 years old. So how do
Mhm.
you make that jump to where you were to where you are today and along the way accumulate at least 69 million?
Good. Actually, it's a nice journey for me personally, because um, I think like I've always been chasing new trends as they appear, especially tech trends, because I really enjoy reading history and how the world became, how the world has evolved to where we are today. So, and I enjoy I enjoyed the fruits of capitalism, right? Like, for example, how Amsterdam began, how London formed, how New York formed. All these stories are very important. And there is a nice documentary on Prime, the three cities that define the history of the world. I
Hmm.
might be wrong, but if you search for
Okay.
it, you'll know that kind of history is very important and inspiring to me. And then from there, I look at Rockefeller, I look at all the tech changes in the world and how people made money when tech changes, right? Like when there's a new technology, there is a new set of rich people. So that's
Yeah.
very nice, because I think the world is fair that way. Because the traditional rich people, if they just sit on their money now, maybe in 3 generations they'll be poor again. I'm not saying they'll be poor, but there'll be like different rich people. That's been happening for a while now, right? So I
Hmm.
think that is a fair world in which there is opportunity always for some new technology to come in and someone to make money. So once I understood this part of history, I was always looking for what is this, what is the new technology, because I was not there actively when the internet just came out. And I had, obviously I was in a town in India, so internet was a fourth, like it, internet happened to me after internet had well developed, right?
Right, right.
And so I could not make any money off the internet. But when I saw crypto, I was like, everything clicked together. So new technology, maybe it works. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm
Mm,
talking about 2030. Even now, I don't know if it's going to. That's a different question, right? But I'm like, what would Rockefeller do? Go all
mm,
in, live in it for a while. And what is beautiful about crypto is, in oil, maybe five people made all the money. In the during the internet, maybe thousand people made all the money. But in crypto, there are hundreds of thousands of people who have made money. And and without crypto being so open, a guy from India could not have entered it and could have made money, right? So that's what I really enjoy, because it was not a VC world. VCs were against crypto when it came out, because they didn't understand how it works either. So it became an open field for a lot of people to come in and start investing money. So Bitcoin in 2013, anyone could buy it, right? And it was $100. I didn't have money to buy it, so I started providing services where I could earn a transaction fee or something, and that's how I got started. And I think I've been very focused every day. I've been working on crypto every day since 2013 until today, and I've been just riding the trend, right? And today, I think the trend is NFTs. So that's why I'm just like, it's like I'm, for me, in my head, the mental model is I'm like playing poker, and there are these rounds going on, and it's a different game all the time. So it's not like, oh, you could just invest in ICOs and make money. No, that's all gone now. You have to understand how fast and quick trends are changing. Maybe in a year, NFTs could just normalize, and maybe there's no alpha anymore, right? So there could be some other trend coming up. So it's very important to glue yourself and into the information network of crypto, so that you can just feel what's going on here, right?
what's
I don't
going
know,
on? What's
maybe it's
coming
a,
next? Yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's
Well,
very fast. We are going towards singularity in that sense, right? Where there is so much technological change, and it's happening so quickly now, right? Like in 30 years ago, a technology change used to take 10 years. Now, internet is 30 years old, and Bitcoin is 10 years old. That's it. Think about it for a second, right? Internet is not so old. It's my age.
well, I have to ask this question. It's a little bit cheeky, but I have to ask it because we're all about investing. So, what is in your portfolio? I mean, do you have traditional stocks and equity, or is it all based on crypto?
I have no equity, no stocks, all crypto. Most of them non NFT, because people ask me that whether I'm all in on NFTs. I'm not all in on NFTs, definitely, right?
Mm,
NFT, what I did with Christie's is a very big risk, right? Like, and an experiment for me, because I do have plans of what can be done in terms of the meme theory itself, and I want
yeah.
to work on that, right? Like, it gives me the a space to work on that. So it's more of an investment for what I want to do, right? So that's very different. But on for the other NFTs I've bought, I think I just bought it for the emotional reason, right? Like, if you're a fan of someone, maybe you will want to buy the first NFT he releases or she releases, right? And it's a
Yep.
good way to support them too. So that,
Mm,
I have a lot of NFTs like that, but most of my assets are is in crypto that's not NFT.
okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. So, what do you think about, we know that you're Singapore based, but you are Indian born. So, what do
Mhm.
you think of India purportedly looking to ban cryptocurrency?
I think the conversation is it it has become a conversation, right? Like,
Mm,
I was really worried about people banning crypto, because then how could my story happen, right? Like, very simply speaking, I feel very connected to crypto, but I've also had these conversations with a lot of my friends and a lot of people, young people also back in India, who have introduced them to NFTs, crypto. And like making an NFT today is like how I participated in crypto 2013, right? So I don't know if India wants to ban art, right? Like why should they? Like if someone can make $500 from the internet, I think they should not ban it. That's my personal, opinion.
Mm.
But again, like this is a phenomenal change of what crypto is doing to the whole system. So they might want to make sure that it's not used for the wrong reasons or something. That's all perfect. But because the conversation is now really going on, and this story also, I think, like it has its own ripple effect. That's one of the reasons why I also ditched the pseudonym. Like, not ditched, I mean reveal myself out of my pseudonym, because
Mhm.
maybe that story gives some legitimacy to what crypto has done, and people don't keep talking about crypto like something, like the bad actors are always using, and use that as a reason. So if my story can be used as the positive reason of why you should let crypto, I'm happy to take that risk and reveal myself. I don't believe that India will completely ban crypto now. Maybe they will allow it as an asset class with taxes to get in and get out or something, which
Mm.
which is my wishful thinking maybe, but I don't think they will completely ban it.
Okay, we hope so. What do you think of Jack Dorsey's tweet going for 2.9 million as an
I
NFT?
don't have a specific opinion on that. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. Uh, I was thinking, but like I was like, man, I just spent so much money on something else. So, so yeah. But the more important thing to understand is that it's not like one or two people who are buying these NFTs and stuff like that, but
Mm.
lot of collectors. So which is nice to see. And I think it's interesting that digitally native items which had no mm, form or no other way of monetizing them now has some form of monetizing, right? So Jack Dorsey's tweet is very interesting because it's part of the internet history and art history now, right? So it's an important tweet. Tomorrow what could happen is Twitter could just integrate these NFTs into their system and say you could buy any tweet,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Maybe you'd buy it for $1 or $2 or $10, whatever. But
Yep.
at that point, this tweet will look cheap because it's the first tweet then, right? That was ever sold.
Mhm.
So it's a very interesting bet to take on these NFTs. I want to use the word bet on them
Mhm.
because I think NFTs will be ubiquitous. Instagram posts will become NFTs. Tweets will become NFTs. Like people just want to collect stuff. It's like a card, right? Like collecting cards.
Yep.
People enjoy them, and maybe people have their own museums or houses, virtual houses in the decentralized world where they will display all the trophies. Like, oh yeah, I have Jack's tweet, I have this guy's tweet, and that's something as human beings we enjoy, right? Like it's like signaling
Yeah.
status and
Mm.
those kind of things. I don't think that's new because of
Yeah.
NFT. That's been our history. Now it's just possible that more people can do it.
A whole new category for bragging rights has been created, so to
That's
speak.
correct. Yeah.
So it was really great to hear you talk about a little bit of nerves when putting $69 million on that bet for that JPEG or makes you
I
human
was
almost.
okay.
Uh, for the rest of us who don't have 69 million, right? How do we get in on the NFT craze? How do we cash in on it?
That's what it's a very complex answer because mm, 2 years ago when this was not in such a such kind of it didn't have such kind of attention. Everything was very cheap, right? A land in decent land was going for $100. Now the same land would be worth, say, at least $10,000, right? So it's like it was like buying land in a city that's not been discovered yet or something, right? So those frontier movements are gone. So what I think is interesting is that now the industry has grown big, and all these mainstream NFTs could go for a very very large amount, but still niche NFTs. For example, if there's a artist in Singapore, right, and they release an NFT, it could be more interesting for a collector in Singapore, and because they understand them, and there could be a small competition going on. So instead of Singapore NFT is selling for $1 million, it could sell for $100,000. And
Mm-hmm.
in the same way, a Japanese NFT could sell for $100,000 in Japan, right? Like things like that, which
Mm-hmm.
have this niche importance, could be interesting. And I think that's where the frontier is, where NFTs, instead of looking at it as a one whole thing, you should get like people as collectors should get started on. There's a place called foundation.app. There is super rare, async.art. All these places are very interesting because you'll see so many artists like uploading their digital art. Either collect what really speaks to you, right, without thinking about it as an investment, or be very smart and see wh- which artists are interesting but the world has not discovered yet, right? It's like being a how do you say, it's like being a artist manager,
Mm-hmm.
where the world does not understand. So it might look like, why is I think he's worth a lot more, but why is
Mm-hmm.
no one paying it? And maybe that's your bet, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's your bet. And maybe when that artist becomes big, your NFTs would be worth more too, right? So it's a very incredibly manual process, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not easy. Like I've had 1 year of manually choosing these NFTs, and then I expanded my team so that I have people looking at these NFTs and seeing. But I can still not do every culturally important NFTs because
Mm-hmm.
now they are all niches. There are Indian NFTs, there are Singapore NFTs. So that's what is interesting now, if you ask me. So people should focus on them.
Do NFT values grow as cryptocurrencies values grow?
There is definitely a correlation, but I
Mm.
think in the future they will decouple.
Mm-hmm.
NFTs will become bigger than just cryptocurrency. Is again, this is all my predictions, right? Like I don't know if it's turn out right, but think about it. Cryptocurrencies, what do you do with it? Speculate, right? Like there's not a lot of use on it, but it's a good technology. There are smart contracts, which is a very nice technology. But NFTs are emotionally interesting. Like it connects with people, like I've met so many people, even me. If I can show you a few pieces of my art and talk about it for hours, and I can, like it's emotional. And even with the people 5,000, I can speak about it for an hour, just how connected I feel to the piece, right? So
Mm-hmm.
things like that are very different from cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency, I'll just be like, yeah, I bought this at this price and now it's at this price. There is no, like that human emotion involved. And that's why I think NFTs will be bigger. And because NFTs will still be on cryptocurrencies, cryptocurrency might become more valuable because of NFTs.
Fascinating. You mentioned you're now a producer. You are a collector clearly. What's next on your list for what you could be collecting?
So I like right now I've asked people to slow it down in terms of collecting more pieces. Instead
Okay.
of doing that, what I really want to do is see if we can bring in more artists together, right? And do a production um, that's very interesting in the metaverse. So maybe I've had, because of this newfound attention towards us, what's happened is we've had interesting architects from around the world write to us saying, we already just, architects build virtual things already, right?
Yeah.
Like
The plans. Yeah.
architects, yeah. So we are talking with real world architects, and they want to build beautiful monuments. So I'm thinking, I want, like, we are going to definitely do this in the next couple of months, where the B5K gets a beautiful virtual monument which people can visit and enjoy, because it's 440 million pixels. And it's not easy to like enjoy it. Like on Christie's website, it looks like a like what's
Like a
happening here,
quilt.
right? It's
Yeah.
just a
Mm.
collage. but it's
Mhm.
5,000 individual high resolution pictures if you think about them. So I want to blow it up into a huge virtual museum where we have these, like, it's all in my mind. I don't know what the architect is going to do, but I've been telling them, like, Harry Potter, click on something and you just move, like, on escalators to go and
Like a
view
giant
one particular
scroll
piece.
that you can
Yeah,
just
yeah,
move through. And so you're gonna
yeah.
build this epic, massive museum for
As a
it.
museum. Yeah, that's my plan. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's
So if
going
you
to be
ever need
exciting.
voiceover for that museum, can I put my hand up? It's
Definitely,
been
definitely.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, and thank you for joining us on Money FM.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed my time. Thank you.
Terrific. He's Vignesh Sundaresan with us here on Money FM 89.3, Singapore's most influential radio station. I'm Michelle Martin.
Money FM 89.3.